Well, hey, good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon, Pastor Ben.
How are you?
Great. I'm doing great.
So, did you see we had a special moon last night?
No, I did not.
There was like a eclipsey thing going on last night.
Oh, I totally missed it then.
What? Red moon. So, but it was like starting at 2 in the morning.
Oh, okay.
So, guess what?
Did you get up and
I got to see it. Yeah.
Great.
Because Juno the dog wanted us to see the blood moon.
The moon turned to blood.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
She's all into apocalyptic prophetical stuff, and she was like, "Hey, Dad, let's get up and go look at the moon."
Yeah.
So
That's kind of special.
it was very special. I would have preferred to sleep through it. However, I did get to see it.
But you did get to see it.
I did get to see it, and it
Well,
was.
how about that?
It was about 2:45, 2:50 when I got to see it, and it had red in it.
And it did have red.
Yep.
Okay.
I didn't spend a lot of time looking at it because I wanted to go back to bed, but
But you got out there.
I got out there and took a look at
Okay, well,
it.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I missed that.
It did happen. I didn't see anybody posting pictures about it, but I did get to.
But
see
you
it
did
last
get to
night.
see it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
the other fun thing is, last night I made a new dish, not like fancy, but I made dinner last night, and it turned out so well that I gave Linda the recipe.
Okay.
So I've passed on another recipe of something that we can have here because it turned out well. So
Oh.
I keep adding to her repertoire. And she comes up with her own stuff, but she always says, if you get something good, share it.
Bring it on in.
So I
I love
just
that you
shared
do
another
that.
recipe with
Yeah.
her today. And
Yeah, any spoilers of what it might be?
it is, I can think the best way to do it is it's an easy way to make a large amount of something that you'd find at a Chinese restaurant called Mongolian beef.
Ooh.
But it is scalable because it's done in the crock pot
Okay.
with those same kind of flavors. So
Okay.
it turned out well.
So
I
you passed it along.
Passed it along. So
So we'll just see if that shows up.
well, yep, because she always has to run a test on it. She has to feed it to a few of us in the kitchen or in the offices. She often will taste test with Glitter Team,
Okay.
and then we know if
Yes.
it's ready for prime time.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
we haven't done this since Huli Huli Chicken. So
Was that the last one?
That was
Which
the last
passed
one
along? Well, that's
last
become
one I
a
brought.
church favorite now.
people like the Huli Huli Chicken,
Yes.
not to be
yes.
not to be confused with Hoochie Hoochie Chicken, which you don't want to eat. So
No.
Yep,
No.
stay away from
not
Yep.
in our church kitchen.
not here, right? We're
Yep.
upstanding. Huli Huli, yeah. So, anyways, I passed that along, and she's gonna test it. But she had me test the 15 bean soup today.
Okay. So is that ready to go for?
It will be by tomorrow. She
Will be
was
by tomorrow?
She was already starting because when you start with dried beans, if you've never worked with them, you have to soak them.
So yeah, you do.
Yeah.
And I have years ago when we would try dry beans and just getting used to that, wouldn't soak them long enough. Never soaked them long enough.
Yeah. So it is definitely an overnight soaking.
Yeah.
I mean,
and if
you-
you want it within the hour,
It does not work.
it doesn't work all that well.
About the only way you could do that, which is impractical, is if you used a pressure cooker. A pressure cooker can raise the pressure to help up, but short of that, there's no such thing as instant dried beans. Period.
Yeah.
So they're a little chalky if you don't.
Yeah.
You've learned.
I've learned, yeah, can do it better now.
Yep. So and occasionally we do beans from scratch at the house, and the trick is to soak them overnight, and just let them be. So, and then change the water, and you can start cooking them the next day. Some people like them on the stove. I do mine in the crock pot because then I don't have to watch it all day. And then usually, get this, what I'll do is if I do them in the crock pot and I want them thicker, you actually transfer them over to the stove to boil them down a little bit.
Okay.
So unless you like really soup, some people like soupy beans, but I like them when they're thick. So I'll transfer them over and then boil them down to their nice
Yeah.
consistency. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And could you taste all the 15 beans?
Yes, what a cornucopia of bean flavor.
Wow. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Yes.
So she had me test it out, and she said, "Am I on the right track?" And I'm like, "Yep," because I told you we're not using the store-bought directions. We're doing our own thing.
Doing our own
So,
thing.
Yeah, they'll have a hint of sweetness and a hint of saltiness. So,
Yes. Yes.
so they'll be good. So real simple recipe, but they always turn out well. So
Very good.
yeah. So Blood Moon, 15B new recipe. So you want to talk about some of the work at the church? So today, because we're coming into the second, well, really the third week of Lent now.
That's wild.
Ash Wednesday.
Isn't that wild?
Week 1, week 2.
Yeah.
So really third Wednesday of Lent. Today we were already not only planning this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Another great spiritual coming, by the way. Another great one. Some of us worked on Easter today,
Yes. Yes.
and then even a smaller working group started working on Good Friday. So we're really working on a bunch of different moving parts right now as we move forward into the season, and some of it requires enough practice. You know, like what are we going to do and how are we going to do it? That you just can't like come up with it on the last week and expect it to really come together. So we have to start working on things now so that it has time to be rehearsed and practiced and laid out, and even the right form. You know how things flow. So working on all that too. So quite a full day of kind of just planning stuff, getting us ready for the season.
Well, and there's a lot coming up.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
And it's been a good season too. It's been
Yes.
just with the spirituals that we've been looking at throughout the week, and then also just taking a deeper look from Ash Wednesday forward. It's been a good season.
It is. And I think it's really important to state the obvious of moving into musical territory that hasn't been widely explored in our congregation, or in other places it might be just that's a commonplace. Spirituals are a very commonplace, but it's not for us. So to explore something different that's also extremely, extremely faithful opens our eyes to new realities and new ways of thinking about things. And it takes us on not only the Lenten journey, but this parallel journey of thinking about what does it mean to find freedom? What does it mean to have endurance and perseverance so that we keep moving forward and not become stagnant? So I think just looking at things differently or hearing things differently just allows us to kind of grow a little bit, I think, in a lot of ways, right?
Yep.
Yep. And that's the one thing I love about our whole team here is we're not in a box. In other words, there are things that we do that we know and we're very comfortable with, but then when the time comes or a moment arises, there's not a fear to tackle something that is outside of our comfort zone. Not outside of our expertise, but not, we have that, but just outside of our comfort zone. So I really love the fact that we're like, let's do this because I think it meets the moment, and it does. And all of a sudden we're in a new place. And I love that a lot. So I think that's really neat. So I have found it extremely heartwarming to explore some of these songs that even I don't know.
Right. No, and that's the thing. Like these are, to some, would have been very familiar, but at the same time, a lot of new music for us.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that was a part of my deep dive in preparing is saying, okay, here's a list of spirituals that we could do that would fit the biblical theme. And I'm going to tell you the ones that we didn't do, I listed a bunch of them because I was just doing a deep dive. But most of them I didn't know, but I'm like, but they're good. And these would fit. And so in my homework, I'm learning a lot of new music by just listening to it. So it's been very meaningful for me. So it's just really, really good. So, yeah. Anything exciting going on with you?
Well, my 10-year-old son tried to run through a glass sliding door on Friday, and it wound up smashing one of the panes of glass. So that was exciting.
I got to see,
You got to see him
Yep.
because he was in church on Sunday.
and I appreciate it. I'm like, and you sent him over so I could
Yeah.
take a look. He definitely, he is not Chris Angel. He cannot pass through a pane of glass.
No. Thankfully, it's not the glass of 20 years ago, which
Right.
would, I mean, that would
He'd
have
been
been
in the hospital. Yeah, he
that
would
would
have
have
been in
been
the hospital,
terrible.
yes. And maybe
but
even-
this
yeah.
this was the tempered glass, which is I mean it's just like smashing your face into gravel.
Yeah.
I mean, you do it all the time.
Yeah, all the time,
Yeah.
right?
But no, I mean, we're really thankful he's all right.
Absolutely. And
but-
nothing with his eyes, thankfully.
And yes, his eyes are fine.
Right.
He's
That's what-
fine. I mean, we still held him out of, he had soccer practice yesterday, and we still held him out of that just because we're just noticing he just wasn't quite himself yet, and just, worry about lingering effects of
Yep.
concussions,
Yeah,
stuff
of
like
course.
that.
Yep.
So
Yep.
just kind of taking it easy. But that definitely changed our weekend up a little bit.
Yeah. I-
A kid who does that.
Yeah, different pace. Oh, and you probably saw Juno graduated from kindergarten.
She graduated from kindergarten.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got her through our last obedience class, and
Yeah. And she's doing well at daycare too.
yeah, she was there today, and she was just being, in quotes, the Lord over the doggy daycare.
Mm-hmm.
So this morning I took her in because Rachel needed to go to work and couldn't have Juno with her today, some meetings, and take her in. And as soon as I get in, she runs for the door. So there's like a reception area, and then there's a door into where the dogs are at. She ran right to that door. It's like, I need to get in there and see my friends. Like, I just need to get in there.
And that's good. We want to have a place like that.
And they were busy in the reception area, but somebody on the other side of that door saw that Juno was there, and I heard them yell, "Somebody go get Juno." They didn't, like, she's known, right?
That's great.
So they came and got her, and then she was off to the races with probably new dog friends and old dog friends, and there's a big platform that she likes to climb and, like, be the lord of the manor over everything.
Yeah.
And so they have
much
like
fun is that?
they have cams, so you can check. I'm like watching her. She's like up there, like being the queen of all up there. So Juno did her little daycare today, and Rachel went and got her when she was done with her meetings and picked her up. So yeah, she's Rachel. I call her Mama. Mama's so worried about her baby girl Juno going to daycare, and she's like, I think we should do it less. And I'm like, how come every time I drop her off, she's like, let's go, I want to do this. Like, I think this is good for her, right? And of course, then she comes home and sleeps.
Yeah, which is
Gives everybody a break, right?
Which is good
when you
too.
got a 5-month-old puppy,
yeah. It's good to sleep.
it is good. It's good for all of us to get a little bit of a break. So
Absolutely.
yeah. So other than that, I just
Other than
kinda-
that, we're rolling along.
Now we're just
Yep.
it was a great weekend in worship, and it was a busy day yesterday for me. I was telling you, Pastor Ryan, I was actually secretly doing some book reading at home yesterday for some church stuff, and was finishing that off because I kind of there wasn't a timeline, but it was just like I wanted to get this finished and passed on to other people, so I finished that, and today came in, and we've been on the run ever since we came in today. So, the other thing I discovered. So we had some flickering lights in the chapel. Not everybody uses the chapel, but for those who use the chapel on a regular basis, some
recently, like
a few months. Couple months
I mean, because
ago.
it was a very common thing, and then we had
And then we had to get new
switches.
sliders.
Yeah.
It was the switches, and they were 40+ years old. So replace them. Well, they got replaced. Everything was fine. Then on Saturday, it seemed like half the lights were not working in the chapel. I don't know if you noticed that. They
No,
were. It was dark in there.
It was dark in there, yeah.
And I was like, oh, Maurice, one of our maintenance guys, we need them like come in here with a ladder and like replace a bunch of bulbs. Well, it discovered that one of the new sliders has a button, and they're the sliders with like the bar that you raise and lower, right? One of them has a button on that slider itself, and that if somebody inadvertently unclicks it, though not all the lights, but some of those canned lights up there go off, and I didn't realize that. So somebody had
I'll
inadvertently.
have to look for that. 'cause
Yeah,
I
it's
did not
only on
realize
one
that.
of them,
Oh,
and it powers like 8 of our bulbs. So when that's undone,
a-
it feels
great church fun fact.
right. So there's a little button on one of the sliders in the chapel that if it's unclicked, a good portion of lights go out.
I'll have to look for that.
So it could be all
That's
the way
great.
up and ready to go, but yet
But yet, you still need to click that
that
button.
button needs to be pushed. So that's a little. You always learn something new about the building.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, very nice.
So you ready for a song for today?
I'm ready for the song for today.
Okay, so we're going to go back to 9:30, and this is a song that the choir did during communion. And both Pastor Brian and I are, working during communion.
Yes.
But we both could hear that there was a beautiful musical moment going on while we were serving communion.
Yes, we could.
And we both were like, "Oh man, I'm sorry I can't turn around and
Yeah.
absorb all of this." So
We couldn't ask him to do it again. We were already like 7 minutes over for the
right.
day, so we couldn't say, we're going to do that one more time.
yeah, right,
Yeah.
right. And as it is, we shortened the last hymn by a verse, but so we're going to go back to communion at 9:30 to hear a beautiful, beautiful song done with both Shane and the choir, and we're going to talk about it and its history when we come back.
Okay.
Lord, I know you love me. Oh, yes, you did. For you've shown me, oh, so many times. And I know from the outset, oh yes I do, that every day wouldn't always be bright. Oh Christ, He really came into my life. He came, my guiding light. Lord, I want to run. You know my song is heavenly bound. I'm so glad I can see the light. I don't feel no waste time. Have come too far from where I started from, and nobody told me that the road would be easy. Oh no, I don't believe He brought me this far to leave me. Oh, I don't feel no waste time, Lord. I've come too far from where
my goodness. Let me just give you an indication, like gauge the room. It's not very often that during communion, no matter the song, do people break into applause.
Yeah.
And it's not because like there's some rule, but people get the reverence of the moment of taking communion. So even if a song is beautiful, people are like, "Oh, that is really good," but I'm just gonna hold back.
And most of the time, I mean, for us, we're focused on,
that.
the communion, the meal there.
So
and,
so to have the congregation applaud isn't about entertainment. They were so moved, inspired by the song that it was spontaneous, it was genuine, it was authentic, but you don't see that very often at Holy Communion when people will be like, "Oh my gosh, I have to recognize the importance of a moment because of a song." So I think that was really great.
Yeah,
So
agreed.
love Shane Peterson singing with us and being a part of this congregation and being a part of the choir and singing. And just the day before, he had helped us along with Philip when we did Cecile Peel's funeral, and he did a version of "Go Rest High on That Mountain."
Yes, that was really good
and
too,
he
wasn't
just
it?
knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
On Saturday at our funeral, remembering this lovely person, Cecile, but just really appreciate Shane and him jumping in, and he is such a gentle human being.
He's been wonderful
Just
to have
gentle,
with us
so-
week after week. Yeah.
Love that. So this song is interesting because it has some history in the sense that finding its origins were not necessarily super easy. So let me tell you the story. So I started looking for this, and the first thing I see is a guy by the name of Reverend, let me see, get it right, Reverend James Cleveland, who
Okay.
recorded a version of this song and nothing else. So I'm like, so is that it? So then I don't know if you've ever watched the game show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Sure. Yeah.
There's a portion in that game where you have the person playing has a lifeline,
Yes.
and they can call a lifeline.
They can call someone.
Yeah, which I got to be once in that game show.
I was going to say, you have a story about
Yeah,
that
I
at
was
some point.
I was someone's
yeah.
lifeline for that show.
I forget if they called you or not.
They did not call me.
Okay.
They should have. They did not get very far in the progression of questions.
Yes.
But I was on standby to be the lifeline on the old Regis Philbin Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Okay.
Anyways,
Okay.
so I found Reverend James Cleveland. I had to phone a friend. I yell across the office and said, "Philip, help me out with this. Like, who actually did this song?" And Philip says to me, he's like, "Well, I know a version not by the Reverend James Cleveland, but by the Barrett sisters." So I started digging with the Barrett sisters, and finally, and it's so funny that it's so undercover that this song was written by actually a gentleman by the name of Curtis Burrell. Burrell, Curtis Burrell.
Okay.
And he wrote it somewhere around 1966. Chicago gospel songwriter. He's from Chicago. And probably sung, not unlike here with Keith Thompson, writing a choir anthem or two
Okay.
or three or a song or 10 and being performed locally. And then all of a sudden it caught on with the Barrett sisters, who are also from Chicago. So
Interesting.
my guess is that this song was done in church quite a bit, slowly caught on. Barrett sisters also from Chicago probably heard early versions of this, and so they started singing it, this gospel quartet of sisters, and their names, I just want to make sure you hear this, that the ones who kind of brought this song forward, Delois Barrett Campbell, I guess that's her married name, Billy Barrett Green Bay, and Rhodessa Barrett Porter. Now, the Barrett
Wow.
sisters sang for 40 years. Even if you've never heard of them, they had longevity. They were popular among
How about that?
gospel music trio.
Yeah.
And the official title of the song here is "I Don't Feel No Ways Tired." And like I said, Reverend James Cleveland recorded a version of it in 1978. And because of this song kind of catching on. It became a signature song of faith and endurance of the Barrett sisters, but it's also known as, and once again, because I'm not, deep into the gospel music movement, and I love gospel music, and I'm not deep into my knowledge of spirituals. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just honest. This is also an anthem of black faith and endurance, and discovered that too. But to hear it in church, just
Is wonderful.
just wonderful.
Yeah. No, it's incredible. I mean, yeah, it really
So
is.
I give thanks for Curtis Burrell, who wrote it, for the Barrett sisters who sang it and brought it forth, and Reverend James Cleveland who kept it going forward. Now, the other thing that I found interesting as I was looking at all of this is that the song has different versions. It's not arrangements, it's versions. And that is, Philip was telling me, like, that is part and parcel with gospel music, especially older gospel music, is that it would take shape in one form, and then another group or choir would sing it, and it was not uncommon for it to be reshaped for that context.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so it was not a disrespectful thing to change it. Actually, it was a sign of ownership, and to make the song fit a moment or a group or a person. And so gospel music, you can find different, not just arrangements, but different forms of the same song to fit a specific context, as if it is not only paying tribute to that song by shaping it, but also adding to its depth and richness of thinking about different forms of that song, which is in the same mode and model we talked about a week ago. If you go back even several generations to spirituals, where you have it sung in one way, and then yet you have a written. Remember, I was telling you about the Presbyterian pastor who wrote down the spirituals, and we did go down Moses, but he wrote it down and said this is what he remembered
Yes.
hearing it. So it probably was both and.
Probably was
It was
both
probably
and.
this, and it was this, and it was the same song. So I just find that really fascinating.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And also beautiful to be able to take a piece of faithful art and expression and say, this is beautiful and wonderful as it is, but then shape it for this moment, and it is also wonderful and beautiful and whole in this moment too. So I think that's a different way of looking at things than, dare I say, white people music who are like, well, this is the way it's written, and if you
Yes.
change that, you're disrespecting me because it expresses me, the author, and it always has to be performed this way, and otherwise it's wrong, if not sacrilegious. I mean, we've seen that, right? So I like seeing another take that allows the fluidity of the moment and even the fluidity of the spirit to say, this is how it needs to be expressed here and now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm telling you, I've seen a lot of rigidity when it comes to performance. And
Yeah.
it
I
can
think
only
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think there's a lot to learn, and it's just it's inspiring to see, because, like you said, if it's not the music that you grew up with, but you're exposed to something and it's totally new,
yeah.
and it's wonderful.
Enjoy
It's just great
it.
to have it.
Be in the moment, right?
Yep.
And that's what the morphing reminds us of. We can be in the moment, and I think that's often good for us to be in the moment.
Yes.
So a lot of the theme in this, as I said, has to do with endurance. I love that line. I won't believe that he brought me this far to leave me. I think it's a great.
And just hearing that in the room, it's just
Yeah.
it's really powerful.
Yeah, exactly. So I wanted to talk about some verses of endurance, and believe it or not, all three of the verses we're going to share today, although may be evident and known, but they struck me in new ways today.
Okay.
So Romans. So St. Paul, writing to the Church of Rome, he never visited there before he wrote this letter. He did not start that church. He started a lot of the churches he wrote letters to, but
Not in Rome.
this church was already established, and he wrote this letter because he really wanted them to have the knowledge that he had come to study and make known. And so he wrote Rome this letter saying, if I don't ever make it to see you, I just want you to know what I know. I mean, that's essentially the letter of Romans. So he's doing his final goodbyes, and in Romans 15, verse 3 to 5, this is what is written. Paul writes, it says, for even Christ did not please himself, but as it is written, the insults of those who insult you have fallen on me. Psalm 69. For everything that was written in the past was written to teach us, so that through endurance and the encouragement of scriptures, we might have hope. And then the blessing. May the God who gives endurance and encouragement give you a spirit of unity among yourselves as you follow Christ Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
first, I love this quote. The insults of those who insult you have fallen on me. And he quotes from the Psalms, and yet he is pointing to the fact that it is Jesus who takes on all the ugliness of the world on himself through the cross.
Yeah.
And he's like, Jesus takes all that on. He's like, so I'm showing you that so that you will have the endurance and the perseverance to keep moving forward. That if Jesus took all that ugliness of our sin on himself, you can keep going. He's an example, but he also did something for us we can't do for ourselves. So he said, take that under advisement. And he's like, and I hope God gives you more endurance and more encouragement. And he's like, don't give up on scripture either. I mean, like, he just packs this 3 sentences. Like, you know, these things have been written so that you have endurance and encouragement because you have the scriptures to remind you of how the people of faith in the past have endured and kept moving and passed on the faith. And he's like, and you're a part of that, you know, a link in that
You're
chain.
a part of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a part of something much, much greater.
Much bigger.
Than
you're
just
s-
what we can see.
You're standing on the shoulders of those who've gone before.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if those folks who suffered and struggled were able to not only keep moving forward, but also share the faith and not give up or give in, he says, I want you to have that same endurance in your life.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, our lives, a lot of us, our lives are a lot easier than folks who lived in the first century under persecution. Our lives are a lot easier than those who endured slavery on a plantation. Our lives are a lot easier than those who have been in conflict in their own backyards. So a lot of ways is to take a perspective check and say, you know, if these people of faith endured when it was way harder than our lives, we too should endure.
We too should endure.
Yeah, and not to forget that, and to be thankful.
And yes,
Yeah,
yes, I love that.
So then, so that's Paul just kind of encouraging folks to not give up and remember what Jesus did for us, and to know that he took on all that stuff for us. Then Paul writes to his protege Timothy, and Paul knows his time is short, so he's like writing letters to Timothy, kind of like correspondence classes. Like, here's things I want you to know.
And kinda just
Because
sharing
you're going to take
advice
over when
and-
I'm gone. I mean, you're going to, you know, and so these letters are very theologically rich, but they're also personal. So in other words, they were meant for Timothy. And in this place, he writes at the end of his first letter about, once again, having endurance. And so I thought this was interesting to
so
share.
written to Timothy, but written to all of us as well. But you, Timothy, man of God, flee from all this evil and pursue righteousness, godliness, faith, love, endurance, and gentleness. Fight the good fight of faith. Take hold of the eternal to which you were called when you were your good confession in the presence of many witnesses. In the sight of God, who gives life to everything, and of Christ Jesus, who while testifying before Pontius Pilate made the good confession. I charge you to stay blameless.
So he's like encouraging, he's building them up, and he reminds him of pursuing the right things, you know, relationship, righteousness, godliness, faith, trust in God, and endurance. He mentions endurance and love. And then he says gentleness, and there's a period, so he ends it with gentleness. And then he says the next sentence, but that sentence should be taken in context with that last word, gentleness. Fight the good fight of faith. And he doesn't mean, fight the good fight. He just said, pursue gentleness.
Pursue gentleness. Right.
But what he's pointing to is there's going to be opposition. You're going to come up against stuff.
Stand firm.
So stand firm. But it's a metaphor, but he doesn't literally mean fight. And he says, take hold of eternal life. In other words, the promise. Or, to put it in Pastor Brian's terms, do not carry the image of God casually. Take that seriously. See, I did listen.
That was a striking moment for me.
Yeah.
Right? Because
Carry the image of God with purpose.
Yes.
And not casually, not in vain.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And he's saying that, take hold of your eternal life. He said, and maybe return to that moment, Timothy, when you made your profession of faith, your confession of faith in the presence of witnesses. So in other words, there was a moment in Timothy's life when he heard about Jesus for the first time, and the Spirit moved him, and he's like, I believe that. I feel the Spirit moving. I believe that. He says, Paul's like, return to that moment when you discovered your faith, when God revealed it to you. And return to that moment, because that's a moment of strength when you make a profession of faith. And he's like, that'll give you the strength to move forward if you can return to that early moment. And probably back then, when you make a profession of faith, because remember, people were sharing the gospel for the first time to the world, right? So there were a lot of folks who were already adults or young adults, and they're hearing about it, and they're like, I believe. And so often after a profession of faith, in these house churches, baptism would follow. And so he was probably baptized soon after that, because that was before the church organized, and then baptisms happened always on Easter Vigil for many years. In other words, the day before Easter, they would kind of save up all the baptisms for 1 year and do them all the night before the celebration of the resurrection on Easter, right? So, but back then it was like you made a profession of faith and you felt it and you knew the Spirit was working, and then you were like, I want to be baptized, I want to be washed clean. It's like, return to that moment because it'll give you strength. And then he goes on to say this. He said, don't forget about the other example, and this is the one that caught me, was this moment. He's like, don't forget about Jesus, who, when he was before Pontius Pilate, he also made the good confession. And you go, well, what was he? Well, Jesus did several things. First of all, he acknowledged that he was the king. He said, and Pilate was like, aha, you are a king. He said, but my kingdom is not of this world. And Jesus said, everyone who listens to me is on the side of truth. Pilate says, well, what is truth, right? And so Jesus didn't back down in that moment, that he also with gentleness fought the good fight, even as his life was on the line. So he's reminding Timothy that even Jesus, made his confession of who he was and what he was about, even when his life, or the preserving of his life, depended on it. And Jesus did not back down. So to hold on to the faith and don't let anybody compromise what you believe.
Yeah.
Keep your feet on the ground. Or as a kid, I was just talking to Rachel about this. I don't know if you remember. I know you would, Philip. On Sunday mornings, and you'd only get to catch a portion of it because you had to go to church. Casey Kasem would have his top 40.
I do remember Casey
Kasem.
Kasem.
So you would want to go to church and then get out to hear the last handful of songs of the number one, top 5 hits.
He's on the radio when I'm driving to church sometimes.
They're playing
repeats. They're
repeats.
playing repeats, yeah.
But the reason I'm saying this is at the very end of every show, he would say this: keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars.
Oh yeah, that's
Remember
right.
that? So
Yeah,
this
that's
is
right.
this is what
that's what he's getting
essentially
at.
he's like, keep
Sure.
your feet on the ground. He said, don't give up. Have your feet firm planted in your faith, but keep reaching forward. And so that's my Casey Kasem line for the day.
It's a good line.
How about
Isn't
that,
it?
huh?
A good line.
It's almost as if somebody dared me to work Casey Kasem into a broadcast, right?
Yeah.
See how you can work it out.
You did it.
And then let's finish with this very short, a blessing. And this is Paul again. So, but these are all things that kind of popped at me. You know, the insults of those who insult you have fallen on me. Pontius Pilate being mentioned in Paul's letter to Timothy about Jesus making a confession. You only see him in the Gospels, right? I mean, so fun that he shows up there. And then finally in 2 Thessalonians, as Paul is writing to that church, he says, may the Lord direct your hearts into God's love and Christ's perseverance. That's really two good things, right? So if you're going to leave somebody with something, here's like two things I want you to know. Like lean into God's love, but also tap into the perseverance that Christ had to keep moving forward. You know, it's kind of like that thing that I was saying, I guess it was on Transfiguration Sunday, where like the disciples weren't getting why Jesus was like so focused on going to Jerusalem. And then he'd say, well, I'm going to Jerusalem to die. And, you know, they'd be like, well, let's not go to Jerusalem, right?
Right. That's
We can
makes
fix this
sense,
problem,
right?
right? You know, but they didn't get the bigger picture. But Jesus is like, I will not be deterred from doing the thing that I came here to do. So lean into God's love, but also have that same perseverance that Christ had to see things to the end.
Yeah.
I think that's good for us.
Yeah.
So anyways, we're glad that you've joined us today. And we hope that you'll join us tomorrow at noon, Pacific time, if you're joining us online. The other thing I was reminded of today and talked about yesterday at home is this is the Saturday night that you will move your clocks forward. So, yay, you get an extra hour of light in the evening. Boo on Saturday night to Sunday morning, unless you go to bed early, you will lose an hour.
You're
of
going to
sleep.
lose an hour of sleep.
And so I'm just prepping you. Obviously, cell phones do it automatically, but microwaves and so on and so forth, and coffee makers do not.
Yep.
And so just putting that out there already to move your clocks forward.
Right.
And be ready for that. I'm just thankful it doesn't fall on Easter.
That is true.
I am thankful for that.
Right.
That's hard enough as it is. But tomorrow at noon, we'd love to have you join us in the chapel for worship online or in person. And then, of course, we'll be back here on Thursday. So we hope you have a great rest of your day. God bless you. We love you. And Philip, will you play us out?